It is the 7th of January, 2025, and there are 13 days remaining until the noon hour when Donald Trump will step forward, raise his hand, swear the 35-word oath, and then receive the 21-gun salute due the President of the United States, and all of the attendant ruffles and flourishes. Hail to the Chief will be played, and the 47th President of the United States of America will stand before the nation and deliver an inaugural address that will shock the conscience of this country. This is the warning. Democracy means nothing to people who cannot comprehend what lies beyond it. When Emmanuel Macron says, "Can you imagine that 10 years ago, the leader of a social media network would be interfering in European democratic elections, and he must stop"? Yes, the president of the French Republic should understand that people 10 years ago foresaw it. The German chancellor, Olaf Scholz, has said he's not worried. What he said, and this is incredible, is that Germany, a nation of 74 million, could never fall under the sway of a man who lies. The German chancellor's position is it couldn't happen in Germany. MAGA, or the fall of democracy, or whatever, from the German chancellor's perspective now, it's an American thing. But let me be the first to remind the German chancellor, if I may, it can happen in Germany, and it has. What is it that I'm talking about having happened in Germany? Is it the end result of the Holocaust, the annihilation of the Jews? It's not. What happened in Germany is the story of someone saying something outrageous and then making it come true. Germany is the story of what happened next, and next after that, and next after that, until it exceeded the bonds of human imagination. The man who saved the world, Winston Churchill, in his private reflections, wondered if it was too late. It came that close. If nobody can imagine what it is like to live in a society without freedom, then it becomes impossible to appreciate what freedom is. What Elon Musk senses right now is weakness. He knows in this moment that when he calls for the destruction of the governing coalitions in Germany or in the UK or in Norway or in France or anywhere else, that he's calling for a toppling of an entrenched order. The people don't hear it as a call to ending democracy, and they don't see it necessarily as a rich American by way of South Africa interfering in their government. What they see is someone who's willing to tell the truth about entrenched powers that, just like a lot of the American people, they want to burn down. People have always heard and responded to the siren song of the greatest lie ever told, which is the one at the heart of the Trumpian MAGA message, which is that you are born better than someone else and that you're owed something. You have an entitlement because you're you, and you have a right to look down on someone who's less than, who owes you, and who's taken from you. The German AfD party that Elon Musk is celebrating and saying must take power is a party rooted in Germany's darkest and most evil past. It is filled with neo-Nazis, and it is led by a person who questions the Holocaust and questions whether the SS was a criminal organization at all. How did this happen? And what will it take to defeat it? Well, the first requirement is honesty. James Carville could not be more wrong in his diagnosis about the economy. He was perfectly correct for a long time about the election around what was happening. But no, this was not an economic election. This was an honesty election. And the Democratic Party lost an honesty election to the biggest scumbag who's ever held a political office in American history and the most prolific liar in American history. They lost to that man because of their dishonesty on the three core issues. The American people were hurting, and the Democrats called it Bidenomics and said it was better than the New Deal when they compared Joe Biden to Franklin Roosevelt. Bidenomics was great if you were Elon Musk, but 40% of the country doesn't have $400 and no one talked about that. Kamala Harris didn't give a speech talking about the consolidation of power and economic interest and monopoly in the country. Everywhere, there is a tyranny of big bearing down on little, the ordinary American who has dreams and aspirations and opportunity and does not wish to be a serf in Elon Musk's oligarchy. None of that was talked about. Democrats will continue to lose to Donald Trump until they face the awful reality that they lost on the question of honesty. The only way to beat him is by offering better. And better means reform and renewal. And it means the type of visionary thinking that makes room for the poets and the visionaries at the table who can imagine what it is like to live as an ordinary American at the end of the 21st century. The competition of self-interest for power benefits only one person ever, Donald Trump. In a campaign between two sides over avarice, competing for power for their friends, the American people will always pick the side that does a better job of lying to them about law and order. That will never be the Democratic Party. Opportunity for ordinary people is what made the Democratic Party great. Losing connection with those people in favor of an out-of-touch elite cloistered in America's biggest cities, making tens of millions of dollars a year, has wrecked that party. Those people can't see the dignity of labor, appreciate a hard day's work by the fireman or the plumber. And the same is true in France and Germany and all of the people who will gather together at Davos that Elon Musk has put a target on the back of and said they must go with the lie that is as dangerous today as it was 80 years ago. It never changes. This idea that you are better than someone else and owed by that person something that you don't deserve, which is to take from them their liberty, their happiness, because it makes you feel better when they fail and when they fall. And when you can blame it all on something as simple as their skin color, because yours is the best. It's all nonsense, just as it has ever been. A great storm is coming with the death of Jimmy Carter. The last of the greatest generation presidents has passed. Within the next decade, there will be no combat veterans who live of the Second World War. So let me share with you this terrifying reality. I wonder if an awful momentum has been reinitiated. Every century of human existence has been deadlier than the last. The 18th century was deadlier than the 17th, and the 19th more so than the 18th. The Industrial Revolution improved the efficiency of killing until a moment when the power of the sun was harnessed and unleashed over a city. And in that moment, humanity had the ability to extinguish God's creation. 80 years have passed, and the world understood, even through the fierceness of war and hatred, that indeed we stood seconds from midnight. But now it's all been forgotten. Now no one can remember. And the people who should remember have forgotten how to talk about all of the things that are worth defending. And so they all sound like a version of Emmanuel Macron, lost and wondering, how could it be that a man who runs a social media site, who has the power to take on nation states? I'll tell you, Monsieur President, it's simple. It's just like before. And France should be acquainted with this history. Fascism rose not because it was powerful or true, but because what it opposed was rotten, weak, and corrupt. And that's what this moment shares with that moment. And it's why it's so dangerous. This is The Warning. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. And I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.